What if I told you your perfectly good truck is not failing, it is being starved to death? Not by time. Not by wear. But by design. Right now automakers are quietly erasing the parts that keep your truck alive. And when one small component fails, they expect you to do one thing. Give up. Walk away from a machine that still runs. Still works. Still has years of life left in it. And replace it with something new. Something expensive. Something you do not fully control. But something unexpected is happening right now. Mechanics are not giving up. Owners are not walking away. And a silent rebellion is growing. Not inside dealerships. Not inside corporate boardrooms. But inside garages, workshops, and backyards. Where real machines are built. And rebuilt. In our last video we exposed the zero stock trap. We showed how automakers and dealerships are deliberately discontinuing the analog parts you need to keep your 20-year-old truck on the road. We warned you to stockpile what you can before it disappears. Because once those parts are gone, they are not coming back. And right on cue the real-world proof started flooding in. Not theories. Not guesses. But real stories from real owners. Viewer David Heine shared that his 2005 Silverado diesel had a glow plug controller failure. Now this is not a major engine failure. Not a catastrophic breakdown. Just a small component. But that small component shut the entire truck down. And when he went looking for a replacement, he found nothing. Not at the dealership. Not at parts suppliers. Nowhere. A working truck turned into a dead machine. Because of one unavailable part. Then came another case. Viewer Graham Verrett reported the exact same situation with his 2000 Toyota 2.8 diesel. He did everything right. He maintained the truck. He kept it running. But when one part failed, the system failed him. The part number did not even exist in the database anymore. Think about that for a second. A number. Just a number. Deleted from a system. And suddenly your truck is no longer supported. And the rebellion does not stop under the hood. It moves inside the cabin. Into the systems you interact with every single day. Because modern control is not just mechanical. It is electrical. It is digital. And it is designed to limit what you can do without the factory. In our last video we talked about ignition systems. How something as simple as starting your truck has been turned into a controlled process. Physical key cylinders are disappearing. Replaced by push-button systems. Smart keys. Encrypted signals. All designed to make the vehicle dependent on proprietary components. And when those components fail, you are locked out. But the comment section revealed something powerful. Viewer Null suggested a brutally simple solution. Replace the ignition with an on-off switch. Old school. Direct. Effective. And in theory he is absolutely right. Because at its core an ignition system is just a way to send power to the right circuits. But here is the trap most people fall into. If you try to hotwire a late 90s or early 2000s truck with a basic toggle switch, it will crank. It will start. And then it will shut itself off almost instantly. 2 seconds of life. Then nothing. Why? Because of factory immobilizers. Systems like GM VATs and Ford PATs are constantly checking for a signal from the key. Not just any signal. A very specific electrical resistance value. That tiny chip inside your key is not just for security. It is a gatekeeper. If the system does not detect the correct resistance, it assumes the vehicle is being stolen. And it shuts down the fuel injectors. No fuel. No engine. Game over. That is how deep the control goes. But once again, mechanics found the weakness. Because at the end of the day, even the most advanced system still relies on basic electrical principles. Resistance. Voltage. Continuity. So instead of fighting the system, they trick it. They remove the steering column cover. Locate the wires connected to the ignition system. And measure the resistance value of the factory key. Then they install a Right now there are only two types of truck owners left. Those who depend on the system, and those who understand it. Because once you see how this works, you cannot unsee it. A truck does not die when the engine fails. It does not die when the transmission slips. It dies when you can no longer get one small part. One sensor. One module. One piece of plastic. That is all it takes. And that is exactly how the system is designed. Not to break everything at once, but to create a single point of failure. A tiny weak link. That controls the entire machine. Because if one cheap component can disable an entire truck, then control does not require force. It requires restriction. And that is what is happening right now. Parts are not just disappearing randomly. They are being phased out strategically. Slow enough that most people do not notice. But fast enough that older vehicles are being pushed off the road. And when that happens, you are presented with only one option. Upgrade. Finance. Subscribe. Depend. But the aftermarket rebellion breaks that cycle. Because it removes the weak link. It removes the single point of failure. And replaces it with something far more powerful. Understanding. When you install a standalone system, you are not just fixing a problem. You are removing a limitation. When you wire your own ignition, you are not just starting your truck. You are taking control of it. When you swap to a manual transmission, you are not just changing gears. You are eliminating dependency. And when you go full mechanical, carburetor, distributor, analog systems, you are doing something the industry cannot control. You are simplifying the machine. Because complexity creates dependency. And simplicity creates freedom. That is the core of this entire movement. Not rebellion for the sake of rebellion, but simplification for the sake of survival. Because the more complex a system becomes, the more points of failure it has, and the more control can be applied to it. Modern vehicles are not just machines anymore. They are networks.